first and foremost,
Yes.
what house are you in?
So I'm wearing a Gryffindor shirt. When I first took the Pottermore quiz, I got Slytherin and I was really mad. So I was really mad. So I deleted my Pottermore account and did it again and specifically picked what I then realized were the right answers to get Gryffindor. But then as I've grown up, I think I am more of a Ravenclaw. I think my strength is certainly not in bravery. I hate horror movies.
I don't think that's a good measure of what bravery is, but go on.
Well, I like just don't, like hide and seek really freaks me out. I get really nervous in hide and seek because I'm like so scared they're gonna find me, which is like the whole point. So I don't think I'm very brave. I think I've realized that over the years I'm more of a Ravenclaw.
That's great.
But sometimes to remain like the cool person, I say I'm a Gryffindor. So I'm like half
That is
Gryffindor.
very cool.
Welcome to Stan, the podcast where we dissect our enthusiastic and at times obsessive relationships with cultural phenomena. I mean, have you ever caught yourself unironically insisting that it's not just a phase? Or stayed up all night to finish that book that you just can't put down? Or have you ever had such a huge crush on a celebrity that it made your heart physically ache? I have. So join me as we figure out why certain things or people capture our attention and affection so well. I'm really happy that you're here. Harry freaking Potter. Is there any cultural artifact that is more generationally defining than Harry freaking Potter? If you didn't grow up with Harry Potter, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss, but let me give you a quick rundown, as always. The story begins as we see a baby being placed on the doorstep of a home by some magical people. He is taken into his aunt and uncle's family and treated like a servant and told that his parents were killed in an accident. Near to his 11th birthday, he starts getting admissions letters from a boarding school called Hogwarts. It then comes out that he is actually a wizard, and in this wizarding world, he is extremely famous for defeating the Dark Lord, Voldemort, who is our supervillain. The book series chronicle every single year at this magical boarding school, wherein the supervillain comes back and tries to impose a hierarchy between pure-blooded wizards and non-magical people. The real story behind writing this book is just as magical and inspiring. J.K. Rowling was a struggling single mother who wrote in cafes in Edinburgh in short bursts whilst her infant daughter was sleeping. She is now a billionaire, and for some reason, after writing an entire book series centered around love and acceptance, has decided to use her platform to spread hate towards trans women. As a result of J.K. Rowling being a TERF, a lot of people don't want to watch the new Harry Potter TV show. This is all on top of the fact that it's being remade quite quickly after the last films came out, which is indicative of this Hollywood pattern that we're seeing of people not wanting to invest in movies that they don't know will be profitable. So that's why we keep on seeing a million sequels, prequels, and things that exist in the universe of IP that we already know very well. And my, oh my, was Harry Potter profitable. The books have sold over 600 million copies, making J.K. Rowling the first ever billionaire author. The Wizarding World franchise, which includes books, movies, merch, and even theme parks, is estimated to be worth around $34.7 billion. The main actor alone, Daniel Radcliffe, thought to have earned $95.6 million from the films. Obviously, it had a global appeal, but I think it was so intoxicating for young children in England because it was grounded enough in reality to make it seem real. The school had the same exam system. A lot of the scenes were set in places in London, like King's Cross Station. It just seemed so plausible and exciting that there really was a diagonal alley behind a pub you wouldn't even look twice at if you tapped the right combination of bricks on the back wall. For me, it was really interesting because it was my first ever encounter with cultural difference. It was only in other people's reactions to the film that I realized there were some things that are just English rather than something that everybody else did. I would like to remind you at this point, I was a child. I may have mentioned that my mum is American, and when she was bringing me on college tours around the US, and I wasn't sure about moving there and the idea of America, I remember glaring at her across the crowd when the tour guides would say things like, "We have houses just like in Harry Potter." I think Harry Potter is a wonderful example of the true strength of cultural diplomacy, which is something I think about all the time. England has the most violent, cruel, exploitative history, and all most people think about when they think of the country is like tea and crumpets. And I think this is all down to our representation in the media. We are really flooding the system with these charming stories about magical boarding schools. Harry Potter had so many other appeals. Chief amongst them, I think, was the real depth and the completeness of the wizarding world. It boggles my mind that people still get together in leagues and play Quidditch in real life. It also has a collection of really compelling characters. I mean, Snape, what a frickin' diva. Just like Marilyn mentioned in the Twilight episode, there's something really comforting about having a really clear distinction between good and evil so you can root for the right side. That is definitely present in Harry Potter. I got to talk about this all with my guest Lacey. She is a total superstar. Just to give you a peek behind the curtain, we filmed this over the course of like 6 hours. The microphones went out, the camera stopped working, everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, which is why if you're watching the video version of this interview, the quality isn't what it could be. But Lacey was a patient queen and we still had the best time. She has the coolest CV, including working with famous comedians and on Saturday Night Live. She's now doing her own podcast called What's Next with Lacey. I will allow her to speak for herself. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did.
Hello, I'm Lacey. I have a podcast, my own podcast, which is how we reconnected. It's called What's Next with Lacey. You've been on it.
I've been on it. I spoke about my very own, very tumultuous career journey. Also very funny because we haven't been press trained. It's so obvious.
Yeah,
It's
very
really obvious
obvious.
because everything that we've said is steeped in self-deprecation. You're going to be too modest to say it. I'll say it. Lacey's a wonderful writer, speaker. She interviews people about their career journeys and gives people advice. And I think it's really interesting and special.
Thank you. I am still figuring out what I want to do my own journey. So it's almost a little bit selfish in that I'm asking these people, what do you do in case I might want to do it? But also for other people to figure out if they want to do it.
But I think that's the most genuine creative process, I guess, is doing something for the love of the product itself.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is really important to me and I really enjoy it. And that's when the best results come out. You're carrying a lot of paraphernalia.
My swag bag.
Paired.
A Marauders mat. Full size. Marauders mat, which is huge, with little flaps to change like who's there and all the secret ways to get places.
One of the beautiful things about Harry Potter is that they really did build a full world. There's no inconsistencies, and that's one of the reasons why I think it was so amazingly popular.
1000%. Yeah, it works on every level. It's truly magic. I love this one so much that when I first got it when I was like 12, I was in my room doing full.
As you should.
Wand. I was so convinced this was
That
it was going to actually come out of it. Yeah.
I went to a party recently. It was a 29th birthday party and it was Harry Potter themed. And that was one of the reasons why I was like, I have to do this episode because Harry Potter is so special to so many people.
So special.
It was so cute. She had put up floating candles around the dining room. They were playing the songs. Everyone came dressed as a character. And then also you had to say what house you were in to get into the party. because they had like a specific password for the door. Like it was very sweet. So you have this map?
I have this jumper, my Gryffindor jumper, and I have my bag, which has the Hogwarts emblem on it. And then I have a ticket to Hogwarts. So I got this from a friend who went to the Universal Orlando Studios. What annoys me about the fact that Wizarding World is in America is that J.K. Rowling, for everything she is, wanted everything about Harry Potter to be British. She didn't want an American actor to be in the movies, putting on a British accent, everything to be filmed fully in England. And then all of a sudden, it goes over to America for the theme park. And I'm like, trust and believe there is enough space in England to build the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So I've never gone to the Wizarding World.
Out of spite.
Partly, but also because it's like bloody expensive to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So what they did after they stopped filming is they turned the studio where it was filmed into a museum. They have still the set of where the Dursleys lived. They have Diagon Alley. They have all the like prototypes for the elves and for the goblins and for Aragog. I remember that was so scary. Yeah, you can walk along Diagon Alley. They've really built it out. Like they have the car from the second film. They have it all, but it's not the theme park. You can even go into the Weasley's kitchen and see how they like had
the self-cleaning,
self-cleaning stuff. You can learn wizard choreography, like wand choreography. It's actually a really great museum.
Just quickly, we're not sponsored by this museum.
Not sponsored,
I'm
genuine fan. I went when I was like 12, 13, I think. And I still remember it so clearly because I was just absolutely obsessed.
Yeah.
And that's where I got all of this. You can take the night bus to it.
So what are we missing? Just the rides?
Just rides. And a full scale, I think, Hogwarts. They have a mini scale of Hogwarts. They built a full Hogwarts in Universal and a full Hogsmeade.
I went to, is this going to upset you if I tell you I went to one in Japan?
There's one in Japan?
There's one in Japan.
I
went on my gap year and I think it was towards the end of, I had been traveling for 7 or 8 months. So my memory at that time is not amazing because I don't think I was very well. I don't want to big up the one in Japan too much without having done the research.
Yeah.
But I think there's like a Universal Studios theme park in Japan.
That I knew. I just didn't know Harry Potter was also there.
And then I know that there's a photo of me somewhere wearing a cloak.
Love.
I wanted to be a Slytherin. Always wanted to be like sly and sneaky. Recently, in preparation for this podcast, took the test and I'm actually a Hufflepuff. When was it did you like get into Harry Potter?
I was actually a bit of a late start to Harry Potter. I remember my siblings reading them and I really wasn't a very big reader when I was younger. And
You're the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Yeah, same.
And so I never really wanted to pick up the books and I was never really into it. And then I would get dragged along, like the new book would be coming out and the midnight release would be happening and my siblings would want to go and I'd get dragged along and I'm like, why am I here? Like, I really was not...
So you went to the midnight releases, but
I went,
reluctantly.
but yeah, just fully to support them. And then my brother and sister would be fighting over who got to read it first. I don't know why we didn't just buy 2 copies. I think I got old enough to not be scared of the movies because like I was terrified.
They are quite spooky.
When I first watched the first movie, it like truly, I think, scared me so much that I didn't want to watch the rest of them. Then I got older, then I like reappreciated the movies. And then I was like, all right, let me try the books. So then I tried the books and read to the 4th one and then got scared again. Because I was reading them before bed and I remember the 4th one, I was terrified that Voldemort was going to pop up at the end of my bed. There was like a gap between the wall and my bed.
The 4th is the Goblet of Fire.
The 4th is the Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I had to take another break from Harry Potter. And then at some point I just was like, all right, now I'm going to do it. And I went back to the first one.
Very brave.
Very, very brave. See, this is why you can tell I shouldn't be a Gryffindor. Now I've read them like 9 times. Currently, I have the first one in my library Libby queue to reread them again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to do a reread.
I will listen to them in different languages.
That's what a lot of people do to get better. Yeah.
I highly recommend doing that. This is really unpopular, maybe, hot take. I was not very compelled by Voldemort as a villain. Because to me, I didn't really understand his motives. I was like, you're doing like an evil uprising to become more powerful, then what?
Yeah, I always understood it that it was just like the purity of the magical race. They're against humans or muggle-born wizards. One of the points that I remember this being most shown was, obviously like Draco's hatred of Hermione and calling her a mudblood, and then later on they go into Ministry of Magic when it's been taken over by Voldemort, and they have this statue that's like all muggle. So that's what I think his motivation was, is he just wanted the magical race to be pure and dominant, and we shouldn't be secret from the muggles, and we should be like using our power to be better than them.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense, because for some reason, it wasn't super clear to me as a child what his plan was beyond, like, okay, so you're going to take over Hogwarts.
And then take over the world. I think that's also so fair. Like, we forget, because they seem to be packaged as children's books, and the first 3 are definitely more children's books. Like, the later books are definitely very intense and scary and confusing and detail oriented, and if you are a younger person reading these books, a lot can certainly fly over your head. That's why I've read it 8 times. There's so much that you miss, especially when you start reading it so young.
Yeah, I think I've only read them once. Wow. Or I've only read them in English once, and then I've read the first book like a couple of times in different languages. Obviously there's a lot that goes over your head in that.
Yeah.
But I was never really compelled by Voldemort as a villain.
I found him terrifying. So convinced he was going to come snatch me away.
It's a very memorable and compelling visual.
Yes,
Ralph Fiennes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The true love of my life.
Really?
Like, I just respect him so much as an actor because of his performance in Voldemort. And then I would always watch the behind the scenes of how they filmed it. And his process was so interesting. I remember they did this behind the scenes look at the graveyard scene in the Goblet of Fire. Harry is on the gravestone, and Ray finds it was just like the way that he was so careful about how he moved his wand, and you could just see him like try something and then be like, no, I don't like that, and then like go back and do it again. And he was just like so purposeful with his portrayal. I just respected that so much. I remember the craziest thing I've done with regards to Harry Potter is my friend and I finished I think it was our GCSEs too.
GCSEs are 16.
Yes, 16. Part 2 was coming out, and then we were doing this big premiere in London at Trafalgar Square. And so a friend of mine, we had finished and we had nothing else to do, and we were like, why don't we just go stop by the premiere? We go in the morning, it's crazy, get into a line to like try and get into the Trafalgar Square area, and then we hear someone go, they're opening up Leicester Square. The plan was for the stars to arrive at Trafalgar Square and then walk along and see the actual movie at Leicester Square. So everyone starts running, and we go, all right, and so we start running.
Yeah.
And we stand outside Leicester Square Cinema for 12 hours. 12 hours. It went through every weather you could possibly have in England. Storming, sunshine, like all of it.
And you
cloudy.
weren't even certain that they were going to come.
And we weren't even certain that they were going to come. Then they started putting the carpet out. Then they put the barricades up. We were front of the barricades at Leicester Square. Again, at that point we were like, okay, probably they're coming. And Ron, Hermione and Harry and JK were driven to the cinema. So then the people who were like literally at the entrance of the cinema got to see them. Rupert Grint very sweetly did come back down a bit. By that time, we didn't expect to see any of them or anything. And so I didn't have anything for anyone to sign. So this girl next to me like gave up one piece of paper. And so I have this one scrap of paper from when I like was getting everyone's signature. It was Helen Bonham Carter. I got her signature, like Ray Fiennes, and then when I saw him, I was like, you are my literal idol, I love you so much. And he was like, thanks. It was so weird. And then Rupert Grint, by that point, my piece of paper had been filled
They're
up.
like, sorry, Ron.
And then my phone had died. Oh, so that was also the other thing. Our parents were freaking out because our phones had died because it had been 12 hours and we weren't to be heard of.
Yeah. Was this overnight that you stayed there?
No, we just got there really early in the morning, and it was just really late at night that people finally started coming through. Right. I think overall we were there 12 hours. It was insane. Our parents were so not happy with us. And when Rupert Grint came by, I was out of paper. My phone was dead, so I couldn't take a picture. And so this girl next to me goes, can I have a hug? And he was like, sure. And I was like, well, that's a good idea. Can I have a hug? And so I got a hug from Rupert Grint.
Huge.
My
big question is like, with Ralph Fiennes, did you know that you were going to freak out? Or did it just come over you? Are you someone who gets starstruck? Are you someone who...
I used to get starstruck, and then I worked in entertainment and met so many people and realized they're all normal or not very nice people. I mean, you have to be a certain type of person to go into that world and to want to be in that spotlight. There are plenty of wonderful celebrities and all of that, but I just met enough people that I was just reminded that they're normal people. Like living in New York, like I saw Pete Davidson the other day.
Does he remember you from working?
No.
Okay.
I've seen other actors like walking the street, like Mark Ruffalo, like Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. I don't want to say hi or say anything because I'm like, you're just people whose job is to be on a screen.
Yeah.
Working in the world made me realize like, I like worked as a producer on a Netflix show and it was like as much their job to be on the screen as mine to be behind the screen. Just different functions towards the same goal.
Yeah.
And I think that just kind of took the shine out of it.
It's a very healthy way of looking at things. I think for me, one of the reasons I ask is I don't think I'm the kind of person who gets starstruck, but then when I'm in the moment, I'm often like, why is my heart beating so fast and why am I so overcome with emotion? Rupert Grint, to me, I'm like, you are the embodiment of this character that means so much to me. And that's a huge amount of responsibility for him to live up to that.
Yeah. I get excited, like I saw John Oliver at the airport the other day.
Yeah.
And
that's a good one.
Yeah, and I love John Oliver. I think he's so great. He happened to just come stand right next to me in the conveyor belt, and so I saw him. And like I still got that feeling of, oh, I know the person, but I don't know that person really. But I know him, so I got excited. But then I was like, he was with his family. I also know people who work at his show. And so then I like had my initial excitement, and then I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's not fair. I used to do this because I grew up in West London, and I see a lot of famous people, and for some reason I like to think I'm very, very good at spotting them. For instance, we were walking down Westbourne Grove the other day. I saw Jack Quaid having lunch outside of like in Granger or something.
Yeah.
And we made eye contact for a second. In my head, he noticed the recognition in me, and he was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
They get,
and
you
I
can
was like,
see that happen in their face.
Being like, "Oh my god, please don't approach me." And I see it a lot. Like I've seen a lot of people wandering around here. I've seen Austin Butler, and when I was a kid, I did used to approach people, and now I'm like, absolutely fucking not. You can't do it. It's not fair.
I used to approach people too. I met Harry Styles once. I just bumped into him on the street right by my house. There's a guitar shop, and he was like going in with a friend, and I was waiting for the bus. Once he came out of the shop, I went and said hi. I was 16, 15 at the time. Like, of course, it was Harry Styles, like the biggest name at the time. And he's obviously still a big name, but that was so exciting.
Yeah.
You just become more aware of their humanity now. If it's a specific time where they know I am on show, I am at a premiere, or
just celebrate my work.
Yeah, I used to intern at SNL. You would exit the doors and there would be a ton of people waiting, and at that point it's part of your job to go say hi
because you're like
to people.
clocked in.
But when you're with your family or out to lunch or on the tube or something like that,
if you're spending time with famous people and you see other people coming up to them, is there anything that like sticks out to you?
Oh, sure, totally. Like with my first boss, Leslie, people always came up to her and they would have really extreme reactions to seeing her.
It's like a bodily reaction as well. I went to a concert. I went to go and see The Weeknd in Detroit this year. He has the most incredible singing voice.
Yeah.
He does the thing which a lot of artists do where they come down into the crowd, or they come down and they give the microphone and you do like a little duet with a fan. And I felt quite bad because obviously this girl he had chosen out was having that bodily reaction.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say it was you. And I was I need to see that clip right now.
He was like passing the microphone. And it was quite sweet almost to see because she was obviously... It was like that Beyonce clip where the person is like...
Yeah.
And she was having that moment, and I think he didn't want to embarrass her by acknowledging it. But it was objectively very funny. God bless this girl. We've all been there. If it was me, I would have done exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You could tell that he was kind of not smirking in an unkind way. And this poor girl was trying to keep it together. And it was a very like humanizing interaction.
I also did something similar. One of my most embarrassing moments. I went to a friend's 18th and she had Scouting for Girls perform.
Okay.
And I was at the very front and center for their performance. And they did the microphone thing for one of their songs. I know every word. I still was like so nervous, so freaked out that when they put the mic, nothing came out. And then he pulls back and goes, "You didn't know that song, did you?" And I was like, "Yes, I did."
Oh no.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
That must be so disappointing because you feel bad that you made them embarrassed,
Yeah.
even though that's not at all what was happening.
Exactly. My brain went completely
Yeah.
blank when they like do the microphone thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's such an interesting human reaction. I agree. Thank God I wasn't front row the weekend concert because he was, I'm sure you'll agree, we went to college at the same time, was the soundtrack to every frat party we went to. Now doing a tour which is like similar to the Eras tour insofar as he's doing all of his greatest hits. And I was in Detroit for my brother's wedding, who lives in Detroit, and I was going home the night before in this gentleman's taxi, and I was making conversation with the taxi driver, and the taxi driver was like, oh yeah, I've had like a really busy night because the Weeknd is performing at Ford Stadium. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I went by myself to the concert the next day because the tickets were only like $60. Back in the nosebleeds. Also very funny because, God bless my brother, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry. His wedding was a week long. They all stayed in this house that he is building himself. It has one bathroom with no doors. And it was like 30 of his friends that had flown into Detroit to party for a week long.
Wait, that's kind of epic.
Yeah, great if you're not living there.
Yeah.
And also, I love socially interacting, but once I'm done. But my bedroom was the boot room by the door where everyone else was coming in and out, and it had no door, and everyone was partying the whole time. So it was like, I woke up 10 in the morning, people were still awake from the night before. I told my mum, I was like, I'm going to the Weeknd concert. She was like, oh my God, maybe bring someone with you. And I was like, okay, I'll ask. And I like ran through the living room like, I'm going to the Weeknd, does anyone want to come? No? Okay, oh, I have to go by myself. Oh, no, what a shame.
So sad, so sad,
bye. It was so serendipitous that I got to go.
That's
it was
awesome.
A really amazing concert.
Yeah, I've heard that concert is incredible.
It is really good. Very weird. I made a video about this on TikTok. I don't think he's a very happy person. In terms of Harry Potter, was it typical to what you were engaging with and consuming as a child?
Very typical. I am such a fandom person. I was such a fandom person.
Really?
Like, I engaged in the One Direction fandom, the Twilight fandom, the Harry Potter, like anything that you could be a fan of, I was. Like, I was your typical fan girl. All the like commercial things. I wasn't like finding unique things to be fans of.
Why do you think that is? Because you were very connected to the media, or?
I just think that it was like easy things to engage with. Harry Potter is a relatively easy read, and I wasn't the biggest reader. Same with Twilight. It's just like easy things to engage with mentally. I really wanted to be famous when I was younger.
Same.
Right, this was my ticket to learn how. I guess that's how I kind of saw it. I was going to be as famous as these people in Harry Potter or One Direction. I just wanted to be in those fandoms, part of those fandoms, creating those fandoms so badly that I think that's why I was like excessively obsessed.
That's so interesting. You're so right with Harry Potter, with Twilight, with One Direction. That was their first big break.
Yeah.
First of all, never had someone be so honest about their desire to be famous.
Oh, it was everything. I really, really wanted it. Now no.
It's just a very natural thing for a child to want. I mean, the thing is about the society that we've structured, like nothing is ever enough, right? And so if you see fame and you see excess and you see all of those things that you're told you're supposed to want, like adulation, public recognition, money, status, power, influence, famous people are the embodiment of all the things that you're told that you want to aspire to.
Yeah.
So I find it funny that people pretend, they're like, oh, I never wanted to be famous. And I'm like, really? Because as a child, that's what you're taught to want. And it's so sad as well, because one of the reasons why I started this was a lot of famous people seem really unhappy. And they say, I thought that I wanted this until I got it.
I just thought that being famous meant you were like the most special person alive.
Yeah.
And that you had all the money and you got to look really pretty all the time and all the cameras were on you. I think it was like really about being special and being part of something special. Yeah. That was the main thing for me.
That's so interesting. I've never thought about it like the fandom being a proximity to what you wanted.
I mean, look, I was a massive fan of Harry Potter, went to the premiere, and I got close to all these celebrities. Obviously, I was on the one side of the rope instead of the other, but still, it brought me literally closer to these people that I adored.
Now, being very honest, would you want to be famous or would you want to be close to someone who's famous?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Worked in entertainment and it had its ups and its downs. That's had a bit of effect on how I feel about the industry. In reality, I'm not going to be famous, and I'm not seeking out any other way to be famous, and I don't think I'm particularly seeking out to be close to famous people either. But I've been people who've been close to being famous. It's not bad. I don't think it's as exciting as everyone thinks it is.
That's such a thoughtful answer. I would be a terrible famous person because I'm the most sensitive person on earth. I don't think I'm a good role model. And also I'm lying constantly about where I am and what I'm doing. So,
so you get caught out a lot by those paparazzi.
All the fucking time. I love being by myself. I love solo traveling. I love that sense of solitude. And you just don't ever get that when you're famous. Not that, again, the opportunity is not presenting itself to me, and I don't want it to.
But you never know.
Me, not to bum everybody out, but I wanted to be famous when I was younger, is that I was very anxious about mortality and legacy.
Interesting.
And I thought that if I was famous, then I would leave more of a mark on the world. That was something that I used to allay my anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I realised that you go a few generations back, for instance, you listen to a podcast, you watch a documentary, and you have no idea what the person's talking about. It was someone who was a superstar of their generation. And you realise that fame doesn't necessarily buy you legacy in that way. Yeah. That was something like a really good realisation for me.
Wow, that's so interesting that was what it was about.
Well, as a child, I was very anxious about mortality. I think a lot of children have that stage as well. They get to 9, 10, 11, maybe earlier, and they realise, I'm not going to just exist forever.
Yeah. I
think that was part of the draw for me about vampires and things, as we talk about like fandoms, is that one of the big draws, I think, is immortality.
Yeah.
Which I now realise, again, would be hideous.
Yeah.
Similar to fame. It's the poison chalice.
Yeah. Every life is going to have its ups and its downs.
Yeah. I think also I want to experience as much as I can, and I think more experiences are open to me that I'm interested in if I'm not famous than if I am.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it that drew you into the story or that you resonated with? Is that like a moment or a scene?
I think it was genuinely just the spectacle of being magic, what you can do when you are magic, the world that opens up when you are magic, like a hippogriff, like all these things were so different and unique and just so out of our world and out of our realm of imagination and so unattainable as well, which almost made it like more interesting because you get to 11, you want that letter from Hogwarts and you're not getting that letter. I don't think there was a specific moment about Harry Potter that like really drew me in, but I think which just feels so silly to say a series about magic, but just the magic was just so special, was so magical. Exactly. And that's why I think I like the 5th book / movie the most, because that's where you really start seeing the magic happen. You have your first duel, you're seeing sparks fly, you're seeing the consequences of magic.
Were you ever underwhelmed by what this world had to offer?
Oh, because of Harry Potter? I don't think so. When you're a child, you feel limited because like you're under your parents' control. You have to go to school and you have to go to swim practice or do the chores. And this world felt like you could do anything. So I think I was yearning for more freedom potentially, but nothing in terms of our actual world.
How did your relationship with Harry Potter grow and how did it manifest over time? So you were saying like you were late to it, but and when you finally started reading the books, was it immediate?
I was drawn in hook, line, and sinker. If I could choose what movie to watch, it would be that. One time, I watched the 5th movie and then restarted the 5th movie immediately afterwards. I was obsessed. I watched it all. I was the first person to go see it in like midnight showing. I was obsessed. I think as I've gotten older, I still love Harry Potter. I've become more healthy in my relationship with it as I've gotten older.
You said healthy. Do you feel like it ever got unhealthy?
I mean, probably shouldn't watch the same movie twice in a row.
I think that's quite, like for a kid, that's very normal.
Is it not? Probably like 15.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't think that's that normal.
I was about to say for like younger children.
You know, I like could conduct that music of the score of the movies in my sleep. I don't think it ever got unhealthy. I think it just took up a lot of my time. But until September rolls around and I'm like, Harry Potter.
Really?
Yeah.
I was about to say, as soon as this conversation is over, I'm definitely going to rewatch Harry Potter.
It's so enticing. It has that ability that like when someone talks about it, you're like, oh, how great was that? How great was that moment? I remember being at that premiere just being with all these people and just non-stop talking about Harry Potter. And I was like, this is generation defining. And I think I knew that at the time, which is partly why I was also so obsessed. I was like, this is like everything to our generation. And also you can see the similarities in our lives going through the British system. Like your owls were your GCSEs, your newts were your A-levels. You just could see that reflection. It was starting at 11 and you went through to 18. It was just life amplified.
What do you think is the generation defining? Because that's the thing, like maybe it's because I'm not in this generation, but I don't think we've had a similar series.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great series out there, like the Percy Jackson series that's being remade and people are going home and watching that. But I don't think there's like one thing that has just captured the world by storm.
Collective imagination. How much of it do you think was having a common language and a community with people and something to talk about? There is something very intoxicating about being part of a crowd and being all there for the same reason. Very different thing. But I went to a carnival in Brazil.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very different.
Very different. Very different vibe. I think so much the reason why it was so intoxicating and all-consuming and is that there's not another time I can think of where you're all concentrated in the same place with the same thing on your mind. You're celebrating something that is collectively meaningful. Also, there's the drinking and the partying and the cute guys. I remember walking home because everybody I was on holiday with was single. They had all paid to go into this camarote, like I'm butchering that, I'm sure, but they all paid to go into these like really, really expensive parties. And I was like, I can't afford to do that right now.
Yeah.
But I was walking home from where I left them and I was just like floating on air and it was a whole town set alight. And it was just like such a lovely thing to be part of the collective experience that isn't, I mean, maybe it is political, but it isn't charged with negative emotion. It's only charged with positive emotion.
I think that is exactly what Harry Potter is. And I also was thinking is that it's timeless. Yes, they're remaking it. I'm assuming that if you talk to a 12-year-old now, they would probably know Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's a massive age gap. That's a 20 years gap.
Yeah.
And
media is so fast moving as well.
But Harry Potter has that longevity. So you can relate to someone about your shared experience. But that shared experience includes books, movies, games, trivia, the Sporkle quiz, like all of these.
I don't know what that is.
Do you know the website Sporkle?
No.
It's like this trivia website.
Great.
The hours that my friends and I spent naming the top 200 most mentioned characters in Harry Potter. It's really, really hard.
And the fact that there are 200 characters.
I was doing that when I was 12 years old in the classroom, and then I got to college and met a friend, and they were like, oh, have you ever played the Sporkle top 200 characters? Yes, I have. 6 years later, back we go again. It's just genuinely timeless, cross cultures, cross countries. It's just something that can unite truly everyone. Community just feels like so special.
Yeah. Someone mentioned to me when I was talking about these children's books and movies and how they transcend cultures and language and time. And she was saying that what's especially intoxicating is that when you are reading these children's books and movies, it's so clear who's on the good side and who's on the evil side. I actually will admit, I don't know Percy Jackson. I should have said, as he came out, you were like, oh, and everyone's going back to Percy Jackson. I was like, literally no idea what that is.
I've never engaged with Percy Jackson, but I just know that a lot of people are obsessed.
She was saying there's no complexity in terms of the motivations are so clear. What's good and what's bad is so clear and everyone can get behind that and there's no complexity and no nuance. And that's kind of lovely as you get older and things become very complicated. And people have their own alignments to different groups or political ideologies or interpretations of history. It's so tempting to fall back into something that is so clear-cut.
This is something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
Harry is good, Voldemort is bad. Yeah. Honestly, it's dictated like what I enjoy now. Like I love a hero that I can actually stand by and vouch for. The Dune series, like I'm not particularly excited for the next movie because Paul Atreides now is like such a complex character and isn't actually that good, but he's still the hero of your story.
Yeah.
But like, he's not a good person. So then like, who am I rooting for if I'm not rooting for the hero of the story?
Yeah.
That clear cut has really dictated then like, my want for ease in the media. I'm consuming
Yeah,
now.
you want to be able to get behind someone and not have to defend them almost.
Yeah.
Paul Atreides is...
Timothy Chalamet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dune 1 was the movie wherein I finally got the Timothy Chalamet hype.
Really?
Sadly, I went with my partner and we had gone to a dinner where we'd had like a big fight, and then we went to go and watch Dune, and I remember sitting there and looking at Timothy Chalamet and being like, Timothy would never do this to me. Dune 2, and it's one of the only things that I watched and I was like, oh, I should have seen this in the cinema.
Yeah, Dune in and of itself is a spectacle and so brilliantly done, but like the story and get behind. Timmy, I used to get the Timmy hype.
He's having a moment right now.
I'm less excited about the Timmy hype recently. It doesn't help. I saw him at work once and he is shorter than me. And a lot of people are, because I'm very tall.
I laughed so hard because of the fact that you like paused as though you were about to say something really
profound.
hideous. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? You were like, he's
Shorter than me.
Which,
all respect, but I was just like, oh.
He's a short king.
Yeah. Oh. Glenn Powell. Love Glenn Powell. He's also about my height.
Glenn Powell, sure, he's lovely. Don't know anything about him. Don't understand the attraction. And also, I'm very averse to the fact that I feel like he's really being pushed down my throat as the
He is in everything right now.
Yeah, and I'm not someone who's very picky about crushes. All of the people that I've dated or had crushes on in the past are entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not averse to a short king. It really doesn't bother me.
Short king is all relative. Short king to me
Yeah.
is a tall king to someone. My boyfriend, he's going to kill me, but he's a little bit taller than me. And I go, oh, you're a short king. And he gets so mad at me.
Okay, oh my God, this is so funny that you should mention that.
Why?
Because first of all, I think the two people before my boyfriend now were shorter than me, who I was most invested in. It was never something that bothered me.
Yeah.
Anyway, my current boyfriend, when we just got together, in my mind, I had just registered him as a short king. He's actually technically 6 foot. But I mean, so is everybody. So
Yeah.
relax.
6 foot.
When we had just gotten together, I went to Hong Kong to go and visit him. I had left a party early and he was like walking me home. We were going to get a snack and I had mentioned in passing, oh, because you're a short king. And he stopped in his tracks and was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? And I was like, oh, because you're a short king. And he was like, I'm 6 foot. He is the calmest, like never has a bad word, the most gentle person on earth. Got so upset that the gentleman who was running the store that we went to go and pick up pizza from didn't say a word, comes over and hands us a measuring tape because we were talking
Hilarious.
so loudly.
It means everything
to these
men.
boys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, relax. I've done it. I get
Because,
it.
like, he's taller than me, so I can't really be saying this, but I call short kings anyone who is shorter than me, which is a lot of people. I'm like average height of a man. Yeah, when I saw Glenn Powell and I saw Timmy, their shine just rubbed a little. It was a little lost. I still think they are incredibly talented, and I think Glenn Powell's very funny, and Timmy is a great actor. But in terms of like crush, obsession, whatever, less there.
Who have you seen in person that you were like, wow?
In terms of attractiveness,
Yeah. Bonus points if you like didn't see it coming.
honestly, Jason Momoa.
Oh!
I wasn't sure that was going to be my thing.
Oh my God, it's my thing to a T.
Those eyes are piercing. And he is so funny and he's so unbelievably nice. And I was like, all right, I see it.
Oh my God, I could have seen that from a mile away.
He's so nice. He was a host on SNL. He's like chatting to everyone. He's also like tall.
He's a big boy.
He's big and those eyes are just piercing.
Yes.
In my little interaction with him, but yeah.
Yeah.
That would be who I would pick.
That is top of my list. Okay, love that. Yeah, so you were saying about the remake. I'm really looking forward to this because I feel like you've got things to say.
I was really mad when I first found out it was happening. I feel like the reasons that remakes get made is that the technology has really advanced, and so we can actually make a tangible, sizable difference to the experience of going to that movie, telling that story. I think that just isn't the case for the latest movie, right? The 8th movie was recent enough. There has not been enough developments so that the story can be told in a wildly different way. First movie, sure. very different world. It just feels too recent. Daniel Radcliffe is what, like 36?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's for my own, oh, I'm getting old, like I don't want to recognize that. But I just don't think that the story can be told. Having said that, what did win me over is that it's going to be a series and each season is a book. And so they can actually dive into the story and fill in the parts that in the movie were left out. Like there's so much in the later books that were left out. If they don't do that though, if they still leave very exciting, interesting parts of the book out, then it's just a waste. Then it's a complete waste of like, why are we doing this? But if you are adding in the ghosts, you're adding in the house cup consistently. They also took out my favorite scene in the books is in the 7th book when Harry and Voldemort in the Great Hall and they're circling each other and Harry's explaining everything and how the Elden Wand now belongs to him. They didn't do that in the 8th movie and I was so disappointed. But fine, if they do that in this series and that's how they conclude the series, great. But I fear that they are going to take so many liberties. They're doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Now Warner Brothers is potentially being sold to Netflix. Who hell knows what that's going to do. David Heyman, whose company found the book and then brought Harry Potter to life, is my idol. He is the reason I wanted to be in entertainment. I don't know if he's on the team. I actually haven't looked. If they're going to do it, they have to do it well and they have to do it right and they have to do it truthfully to the books. Yeah. I'm excited about the cast. They have some massive shoes to fill. The guy who's playing Snape, I forget his name now, but love him as an actor. That is an iconic role. How do you make that your own?
And Alan Rickman as well. Like
Alan Rickman, that voice, that demeanor, just like everything about him. How do you make that your own?
Also the fact that Alan Rickman is now gone, which means that he's been immortalized. I feel very protective and defensive over child actors in a way that is a little bit weird considering that I'm not a parent.
They are about to head into a really tough life. You do need to be protective of these actors. I actually don't even know if they've started filming. It all just seems a little unnecessary. I think that speaks to a larger issue of the entertainment world now. Everything's a remake. And I'm like, let's think of some original movies. With this merger, money towards indie films is going to disappear because we have fewer companies competing for the acquisition of these indie films. But that's where new original ideas come from. And it's all just very depressing. And I think the entertainment industry has gone down a little bit of a dark spiral. It's not new and exciting anymore. And they're wondering, like, why aren't people coming to the cinemas anymore? Well, make good stuff and then people will come.
I am sad about the loss of cinema. I mean, I think the loss of third spaces generally in our society is extremely depressing. Also, I'm particularly sad about the cinema because I fucking love the cinema.
It's my happy place.
It's like 100% my happy place.
When I was unemployed, going into a cinema, I kept my AMC stubs, the theatre in America, like stubs activated because I would get rejected from a job and I'd go to the cinema and I'd breathe in that popcorn air and step in and immediately just feel so much happier.
We've spoken about, I suppose, the remake. I don't know what J.K. Rowling's role is in the remakes and stuff. I don't know whether she's like on the writing team, but
knowing her, she doesn't let go of that IP for the life of her. She's embedded in all of it, I'm pretty sure.
You seem to have a strong opinion on it. I want to hear.
I mean, you have to separate the art from the artist. And you know, I used to actually not really feel that way. But simply because of Harry Potter, I'm like,
I can't let it go.
Unfortunately, Harry Potter, I cannot let go of. We were saying earlier, she has built out such an incredible world. What I genuinely don't understand about her right now, she's built out this world where the strongest power, stronger than magic, stronger than anything, is love. And the good side is the side that accepts those who are different. They are who ultimately win. And she is conducting herself with such hate. And I'm like, why are you dying on this hill? You built this incredible world that is solely about love and those who are different. And had them win, had that be the strongest power. So where is this coming from? And I haven't dug into it too much because I don't want to give attention to it, her hateful rhetoric. But sometimes you see her tweets come up and you're just clearly at some point in your life, you did believe that love was the strongest power and that was the be all and end all. And now you are like, no, let me hate on this group of people for Literally no reason.
Literally no reason.
Literally no reason. I can't square those circles, or whatever the saying is. I don't look into it too much because I don't want to draw attention to it. I view Harry Potter and then I view J.K. Rowling as like two separate things.
One of the things that motivated me to do this podcast, and like one of the things that I'm noticing in media a lot, is that we really turn to artists and creatives to be political voices. The convergence between celebrity and politics is so alarming to me.
1000%.
I think as well, it's a very generational thing. I'm sure it's going to happen to us, is that you're progressive in your generation and then you grow up and then there's another issue that you didn't think about and it takes the fore and you hold on to your idea of this is what it means to be progressive. It's less about that group of people and it's more about how dare you say that I'm not a good person, or how dare you say that I'm not enlightened. And I'm like, the collateral damage for you taking something personally that frankly has nothing to do with you is enormous. It's your ego trip of insisting that you're in the right, and your self-image as a progressive person doesn't need to be this fragile and this sheltered. And because it feels threatened, it like calcifies into I'm right and this reasons that I'm right, and it just seems so unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
I'm sure that I'm going to get to that age and there's going to be a new issue. I hope that we're going to overcome this, because I think it's really confusing for our parents' generation to be like, well, we were the good guys.
Yes, that is definitely a very prevalent thing that happens in our parents' generation. But I think that for J.K. Rowling specifically, she knows she has a platform. There's one thing for like the older generation to have their views and say them amongst like a Christmas dinner. And there is another thing, like you said, like J.K. Rowling has this platform. People are turning to her, listening to her, appreciating her opinions and taking that out into the world. Why are we turning to her to get this information? She is not a politician. She is not working at a non-profit. She's not knowledgeable.
She's not a doctor. She's not a scientist. She's not a researcher.
She's also not even experienced in this world, like in this issue. It's all about like exposure. We will also grow up and continue to be exposed to new ideas so that when we are in that generation of, oh, well, maybe like that's the new issue, I think we'll still be exposed enough to that issue to have a little bit more sense about it, if that makes sense. And I think J.K. Rowling, like, she is now a billionaire. She's living in her massive mansion, and so she hasn't been exposed to the real world anymore. But we shouldn't be going to her in the first place for her opinion on this. All these celebrities come to talk about politics, and I'm like, no, let's talk to economists, researchers, like actual political commentators.
I think we all mistake charisma for knowledge often. We were just talking earlier when we were having lunch. I was saying that I'm very happy that I went to a boys' school because I feel, especially as teenage boys, they're so instilled with confidence. And I realized during that period of my life that speaking the loudest doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying the most meaningful thing. And I make that mistake a lot less often now, when I'm like, just because this person is yelling, it doesn't mean what they're saying is useful. That worries me about the lack of media literacy that we're having now as a generation, is that people are not thinking about things critically. They're asking ChatGPT for an answer and then taking that answer as gospel. Not reading the whole article and not thinking about it with more nuance and not seeking out other opinions. And I get it. I'm also bad at this. Like, I find someone I admire, and I often admire them because they're telling me information about things that I already believe to be true. I've realized that I can't ignore the manosphere. I recently got passed over for a job because I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. And I was very cross about that in the time.
That is a bananas reason to not get a job. The worst, most despicable. Thank God you don't know who that man is. But the worst. That was the question asked you in that interview.
Actually, it was worse. We were talking about certain media figures and content creators and who we would invest in, because we were talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk and how quite early on he got a lot of investment from like certain political figures, and how a lot of podcasters are being bankrolled. And so we were talking about who you invest in to influence people. And they said, okay, so I'm going to mention some people and you're going to say whether you would invest them in or not. And then he mentioned some names and I was like, I don't think ethically or morally I can invest in these people. But he said, okay, what about Nick Fuentes? And I was like, I actually just don't know who that is. Now I know, unfortunately, who he is.
Obviously, I'm not saying this would particularly happen to you, but to like people who do end up engaging with Nick Fuentes, whether it's out of curiosity, like agreement or disagreement, that's the point. I know who he is. I know what he thinks.
His talking points.
I have no need to engage with any of his content.
Okay.
And I don't want to, because he does not deserve the view or click or anything, or even the breath space or investment.
How do you feel about the role that British cultural diplomacy plays in the media landscape today? For instance, I went on to Pottermore recently to take the quiz, and I saw one of the first quizzes that comes up is this a British Christmas tradition or is it magical?
I think I saw the thing about the Christmas crackers.
Yeah, I was like, that's fucking hysterical. I think as well, like, cultural diplomacy is so overlooked. And I think people are becoming more attuned to it with K-pop. But how does it affect you living in the US, but as someone from the UK? And how do you contend with how British media shows up globally?
Being a Brit in America, because a lot of great content and media and entertainment comes from England. People really like Downton Abbey. You don't like Downton Abbey?
They used to do the Christmas specials.
Loved those Christmas specials.
And my parents used to make me watch it, never engaged with it otherwise.
Oh my god, I love Downton Abbey.
Very last question, I swear. Who was your celebrity crush?
I've had about 1 million.
Of course.
Throughout my life.
Thank God.
My first crush was Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy. Oh, did you ever watch the live action of Peter Pan? The guy who's the live action Peter Pan was my next biggest celebrity crush. Cannot remember for the life of me his name, but that was my next big
Okay, you've
celebrity
got
crush.
a type.
I have.
I mean, like, I meant blonde men, not like children. Just like, so sorry.
Just to clarify that. Then I went to brunettes. You've got to throw in like Harry Styles. Oh, James Lafferty and Chad Michael Murray from One Tree Hill. I actually genuinely planned my wedding to James Lafferty when I was like 13. Yeah, I'm serious about it. I was a fan girl. Obviously One Direction, Harry, really all of them. I thought they were all so cute.
Yeah, they were. There was not a weak one in the bunch.
Not a weak one in the bunch. I may have written some fan fiction about me falling in love with like, oh, I forget which one. Speaking of Harry Potter fan fiction, that was Manacled. Did you hear about Manacled?
No.
So Manacled was fan fiction about Hermione and Draco falling in love and what would happen if Voldemort had won. And then Hermione and Draco falling in love as response to that. And it blew up. So then obviously because the IP is so protected, they wanted to publish it, but then they had to completely rebuild the world.
Is it quite steamy?
At parts, but honestly not really. It's like really quite dark.
Oh.
Fanfiction is making its comeback.
There's no like big guy
right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't want to interrupt your history because you were like...
I was going through everyone. Yeah. I always thought Mark Ruffalo was a silver fox.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal, obviously.
Yeah. God, these older men.
I know. You mentioned Austin Butler. I think he's really, really cute.
He's super cute.
He's super, super cute.
Also very impressive for him in Dune to be quite sexy when he
looked creepy as hell.
And also was a supervillain.
Yeah. No. I think he's like a very cool, talented man stuck in an Elvis voice, but
yeah. People talk about that. I don't care.
I'll
have you, Austin.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take you.
My one recently is Damson Idris. I saw a short of him and Amelia Schmaldenberg, and I was like, who is that? Can I just say, I talk about this all the time, but it's so funny how like people are online being like, what do women want? Like, women are only attracted to one very specific thing. And I'm like, no, we've just mentioned so many different people. And they all just seem quite charismatic and nice. That's literally, I would like attention, emotional intelligence, and like kindness.
Kindness is my main thing, I think. Kindness, respect. Kindness, respect.
That's it.
That's all I really need. And a little bit of confidence. But like also I carry enough confidence for a lot of people. So really,
I'll carry the team.